Today's episode, we're going to touch on a really important topic, scholarship negotiations. Welcome to another episode of Break Into Law School. For those of you who don't know me, I am Dr. Nadia Castriota. I am the Director of Law Student Success and one of the admissions advisors here at Barrier Breakers. So like I mentioned before, today's topic is based on scholarship negotiations. In the midst of the admission cycle right now, while working with my students, a lot of them are overwhelmed with the actual process of applying to school. And then it hits them that scholarship is also a part of the process. And then we get into the conversation of what that really means. And things are a little different during this process as you're applying for law school rather than when you were applying for undergrad or grad school. As you prepare for your law school journey, you want to make sure that you take care of these things, meaning how you're going to finance your law school journey, pretty much up front during the process, so it's not the extra thing that you are stressed about later on. Law school is stressful, it is a journey, and therefore, as much as you can prepare in the beginning, it will only help you as you go through the journey of your 3 to 4 years. So in terms of scholarship negotiation, it is a part of the application process, yes, but it is something that you will continue to talk about with your contact at the law school, whether that be a director of financial student support or director of financial aid. But that finance person at the school is definitely your contact in terms of talking about how and what your financial assistance will look like during your law school journey. In today's segment, I've divided this process up into 3 parts. 1 is research, 2 is preparation, and 3 is strategic communication. So first up is research. You want to make sure that you find out from the law school that you're applying to exactly what their scholarship process is about. Is it based off of merit, which would mean a combination of LSAT and GPA? And you also want to find out how you can apply to the process. Is there a separate application? Are you automatically considered if you receive an offer of admission? And when will this information become available to you? Does it come out at the same time that you apply? Will it be sent to you after, separate of your offer? And in this information, what is the criteria or the requirement in order for you to keep the scholarship? You want to find out if you meet the threshold, right? So does that mean you need a certain LSAT and GPA? Does that mean you need to meet the median or the 75th? Those are scholarships based on merit. You also want to find out if the law school has other scholarships that they are offering and how you can apply for those. Remember what I said in the beginning of our video, that applying to law school and for your financial assistance during law school, it is a different process. There is no financial aid per se and no free money like you had in terms of what you had for undergrad. In professional school, you are either funding your law school journey through loans or through scholarship. And if the school is offering anything else, such as need grants, but most law schools do not offer any scholarships based on need. Again, and the only way to find this out is by contacting the law school themselves to see what is available to you. And this could change from year to year, right? So coming in as a 1L student, you might have scholarships that are specifically for you, but then as an upperclassman in your second year and third year, you might have other scholarships that you could apply to. So it's always good during your process to sit down with that contact that I mentioned, that financial aid guide, so they can give you a heads up in terms of the resources that are available to you, and so that you can plan ahead. These are the things that I can apply to or have available to me in my first year. That might change in my second year, and that could change in your third year. You might receive a scholarship that, as long as you meet a minimum GPA, you can keep it for all 3 years. But if you go below that GPA, you might lose it or lose partial scholarship. And so those are all important questions to make sure that you ask your point of contact. But it starts with the research that you put in as you're applying to the school. You want to make sure that you are well equipped with the information when you go to make this appointment to talk to your point of contact. So the second part of this is your preparation, right? You can plead your case, you can initiate contact, you want to make sure that you present well in your communication. In terms of preparing your case, That comes after your research. Now that you are well equipped with information and you've contacted the school and you know what the process is, and if you meet the qualifications, now you can put together your request or your application or plead your case. And whatever that may be, again, you want to make sure that you follow the directions of the law school. So if they tell you you do not need to apply for a scholarship because you will be considered once you apply, do not keep calling the law school and asking them how you apply for scholarship. If they say there's a separate application, make note of deadlines and what is required in that application. If an essay is required, then remember that you want to plead your case. You want to make sure that your essay is professional, without any errors, that you've answered the questions and provided the information that the law school needs. You want to make sure that you meet the requirements. Does it need to be a certain page length and a certain font? That they ask you a question that they want you to specifically answer. So make sure that you follow those directions when pleading your case. Because one wrong thing or one mistake could disqualify you from being considered for this scholarship. You also want to initiate contact with the school. And so I mentioned that in doing your research, finding out by looking at the website, contacting the school to find out what's available to you. But now that you're ready to submit or ask for reconsideration of your scholarship, you can contact the school to find out how you could do that. Is it an application that you need to submit directly to them? Is it an email or a letter? Did you already receive scholarship and now you're requesting for reconsideration? Is that a separate process? And what does that look like? There may not be a guarantee that you would even be able to request for reconsideration, but if there is a process, you make sure that you send the information in, you respectfully and professionally request for reconsideration, and it is up to the law school how they want to handle that. In your request, whether it is the initial request or your request for reconsideration, you want to make sure that you provide all the information, meaning that you're talking about your need for your request for an increase in scholarship, you're making your connection to the school, you are providing information and being transparent, which means that if there are other offers out there and this particular school is your dream choice, then maybe providing to them that you do have other offers and what those other offers are, and even going as far as attaching these other offers so that they can see that you are willing to be transparent, that you are serious about attending that particular school, and that they can compare the offers that you have with the other schools that are out there. Again, this does not guarantee that you will get an increase, but it does show that you are providing all the information that you have to the law schools, that you're being transparent and you're expressing to them what your need is. Remember that in pleading your case, it is not just what is beneficial to you, but what is beneficial in a mutual agreement between you and the law school. Again, I cannot stress the point of you remaining professional and respectful in submitting your request for scholarship. I think that I've mentioned, the initial application process, but also requesting for reconsideration, which are two different things. And I do want to make that clear before I go into the final tidbit. In your research, if there is a scholarship process, an initial process, then you want to make sure that you do that with your application, that you put in your law school application, and if there's a scholarship application, that you submit the scholarship application and with all the requirements that they ask for during that process. That is the first thing. The second part that I mentioned is that if you received a scholarship offer or you received an offer of admission without scholarship and you want to inquire if there is the possibility of you receiving scholarship, that is a separate process. That process would definitely entail you contacting the school to see if they even allow for reconsiderations. Some schools may say that the offer you have is the final offer, and then that's okay. That's what you have to work with. Some schools may say that there is a request for reconsideration where you have to submit an essay or your request to ask the committee to reconsider either giving you some scholarship if you did not receive scholarship, or if they would increase the offer that you already received. If you are writing a request of reconsideration, as I mentioned, you want to make sure that you remain professional and respectful, whatever the process is that the school has. If they allow you to submit the request that tell you there's no guarantees, you have to respect that. But of course, we hope for the best. And if they tell you that there is a possibility, but you might have to wait until they know closer to what their class size looks like, and there could be a waiting process, yes, that is frustrating for you because you want to make a decision as well. But you also have to be respectful of the process and wait until the committee gets back to you with a decision. My final and third part is making sure that you are strategic in your communication. Meaning that if they ask for an email, draft an email. Don't show up at the office asking to speak to someone. Follow the instructions of the law school. Again, if they say an email required that's 250 words, then let's make sure that we give them an email in 250 words. And you can find out from them after you submit what's the process after that. Do I wait 2 weeks? Is it going to be until the end of the summer? There is no problem with asking questions. I encourage you to ask questions. You don't know what you don't know, so ask as many questions as you like. However, the answers that you receive from the law school, please make sure that you pay attention to that and that you follow their instructions once they give it to you. Meaning that if they tell you you have to wait, yes, again, frustrating, and yes, overwhelming, but you do have to wait for them. Once they tell you the timing of their request or the timing of when they will be making decisions, you can then look at your personal calendar and organize what that means for you. If you have a hard deadline as to when you want to make a decision for the school and it doesn't fit into that, of course you can explain to the committee that you wanted to make a decision before a certain date. However, it doesn't mean that because you want to do something at a certain time, the law school has to bend to you. This is a mutual agreement and a mutual respect. So again, provide all the information that you have to the law school, and hopefully you will have an answer in a timely fashion that allows you to make this very important decision, and an exciting one at that. That point leads me to my final point of being flexible, right? You want to make sure that in this journey, at the end of it, when you choose your law school, that you are confident and comfortable in the decision that you've made, that you're going to be happy with your law school for the next 3 years, and you're going to be a proud alum after you graduate. In doing so, this journey from the beginning requires you to be a little flexible. Remember that the law school has a process that they have to follow. They have a budget that they need to stay in. And yes, they want to bring in the best class every year, a diverse class, and they want you to be happy being in their law school community. So I think being flexible is probably the most important piece. Sometimes I think we can get a little carried away at the process. And I tell my students, try to get out your head. You're your worst critic. And that's not to discredit how they feel in any way about the process. I've been doing this for a very long time, and I know that it is stressful. I know it is challenging. And sometimes we don't get the answers and the outcomes that we want. But it is not the end. You are not defeated, and we can keep trying and try again. I also mentioned that this journey is a sacrifice and an investment, right? So investing in yourself means bigger returns and bigger blessings at the end of the day. So, yes, you should be an advocate for yourself. Yes, you should contact the school and find out what the process is in scholarship negotiations. And yes, you should put your best foot forward and write that essay or ask for that appointment to speak to the scholarship chair, whoever that person would be. You should do all those things. But I also think that we want to be open and we want to be flexible, and we want to remember that this is a mutual agreement between you, the applicant, future student, and the law school. And ultimately, we want you to be happy in this decision in the law school with the package that you get as you select the school that you want to go to. I know that I threw a lot of information at you at once. I try to make it quick so that I don't lose you along the way, especially with a topic like this. Please submit your questions. I know that the scholarship process is an important piece of the application process, and I know that it can be uncomfortable to talk about. So if there's anything that we can do to help you along the way, that's why we're here. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you like, share, and subscribe to our social media platforms. And I hope that you continue to collaborate with us and send us your questions and allow us to be a part of this process for you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time.